Hi everybody, Speedway Tag here. I thought I'd do my first ranking video because I'm in a super Oniverse mood at the moment. These are the series of solo games in the Oniverse series. The newest one has just come out, which is down here, Cyberion, and I thought, you know what, I think it might be time for me to do a ranking video of these. There's a video of all of these games on my channel, and heaps of people have done videos of these. So if you really want to learn how to play the game intricately, you can go and check out these videos. I'm just going to really rank them today, give you a couple of reasons why they're in that order. I'll show you a couple of my favorite things about the games. What I'm going to do, instead of going on and rambling about each game, I'm going to stick to three little topics just for a couple of minutes on each game. I'm going to show you what my favorite piece of artwork is in each game. I'm going to tell you what my favorite part of the gameplay in each game is. And thirdly, each one of these games, except for Herbon at the moment, each one of these games has a little figurine, which is really unique to these games. And so the third thing I'm going to show you is how those figurines interact with the game, just for something random and something fun. So let's get started with, I'll go from 8 to 1. Let's see what my what comes in at number 8. Okay, coming in at number 8 is Starion for me. It came out just last year. Unfortunately, as much as I love all of these games, and I love Starion as well, one has to come at the bottom. Starion doesn't feel as groundbreaking and as clever and as interesting and engaging as the others, but it's still a very solid game. It tends to sort of go over a ground that's already been covered, particularly by Arion. So it doesn't feel as unique and new, but it's still a very solid game. This takes place in space, okay, the universe of the Oniverse, if you like. So there's spaceships and planets and galaxies and so on. You'll have 8 decks in front of you. You'll be trying to move certain cards to the top of those decks by managing the decks. And when you get a certain combination of 4 cards on top, you can discard them to claim a voyage, which means you've voyaged to that galaxy. You do that 8 times and you're going to win Starion. There's a couple of really nice expansions too, but so yeah, this comes in at number 8 for me. Well, let's go have a look at the 3 things that I'm going to talk about each of these games, which is my favorite piece of artwork, my favorite element to the game, or the way the game's played, or mechanic if you like, and thirdly I want to show you how the little figurine in each of these games actually figure in the games. So this is Starion, as I said, coming in number 8 in my ranking. Still looks very nice. These are the 8 decks I was talking about, and you know what's in each of those decks. Just like with Arion, it's just taken that mechanic from Arion and turned it into a full game here with Starion. And on top of each deck are the various cards, which you have to make a combination of 4. And when you get the right combination of 4 cards, there's stars and there's planets and there's galaxies and there's ships. You get 4 of the different cards in the same color. You can claim these voyages, and you've got to claim 2 purple voyages, 2 blues, 2 oranges, 2 blacks. Like I said, this one doesn't feel as clever as the other games. It doesn't feel as groundbreaking and as unique, but it's still a very nice experience. Expansions are quite nice. But so let's do my 3 topics. 3 things I want to say about Starion. First of all, my favorite piece of artwork is that card there. I just love that's the mirror card. That's part of the Mirrors and Orbits expansion. That's kind of like a wild card that you can use to create your combos that you need. But I think that piece of artwork is brilliant. The second thing I want to say, what part of the gameplay do I like the most? And for me, it's the Mirrors and Orbits expansion. Because here, when you're normally claiming your voyages, you just claim whichever one you can at the time. But in the Mirrors and Orbits expansion, you have to claim these voyages in a particular order. And I think that really adds a little bit more challenge to the game, which I feel it needs. So and then thirdly, what does the little figurine in this game do? Well, there's the figurine there. It's called the Glaucus Sun. Every one of these games has a figurine, and normally it figures in one of the expansions. And so this expansion is the Glaucus Sun expansion. It comes with a board, which is, I believe, the first board in the Oniverse series. Very cool. And that Glaucus Sun is going to move along that track. If it ever gets to the end, you're done. You lose. It'll move forward every time you discard one of these cards to use its ability. If you discard the 4 cards to get a voyage, it'll move even quicker. So you have to mitigate that by creating combos with your cards, but foregoing the power, so you can push the sun back. If you can get into these little spots that have got the meteors, then you can collect those little meteors or comets or whatever they are, asteroids. And if you get 2 of them, you can get a voyage for free. So that's what that's how the little figurine works for Starion. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, coming in at number 7 is Arion, which takes place in the skies of the Oniverse. In this game, you're actually a master ship builder, and you're tasked with building 6 ships, I think it is, to rule the skies of the Oniverse. Okay, and so like I mentioned before with Starion, you're going to have 6 decks here, and you're going to know exactly what's inside each deck. So that's kind of cool. And then you're trying to bring to the front of those decks cards that you can combine together to claim again, just like in Starion, but this did it first, right? Claim your ships, okay? And the ships are these lovely little tokens. But the added, why this comes higher than Starion is because there's a dice element to this, okay? What's happening here is you're rolling dice and Yahtzee style, claiming the cards from the top of those decks in order to fulfill the requirements to build those ships. You have to first get a blueprint for the ship, a card for the blueprint, then you need a card for the fuel for the ship. There's 3 different fuels, and then you're going to need the correct crew for the ship, and the trusted incubi and the Sogne come into play again here, which we all know from the Oniverse. And so once you got your blueprint, your crew, and you've got your fuel, and those cards are on top of the deck, you bring them into your workshop, you arrange them, you do a couple other shenanigans, and you can claim one of the ships. You've built one of the ships. Do that 6 times and you win the game before the decks run out. But again, the dice really make this a lot more interesting. The expansions are a lot more interesting in this, but the dice, mitigation and re-rolling, and that element makes this a lot better than Starion. This is a great game. Arion's coming in at number 7. Okay, so this is Arion. Just briefly, that's how the setup looks, as I was trying to explain just now. The 6 decks, you know what's in each of those decks, which is really cool, and the symbols at the top of those cards sort of remind you that as well. Each deck, 1 card is revealed below it. So these are the cards that are available to you at the moment. These are the ships you have to build by handing in combinations of those cards. Okay, these are the dice you're going to be rolling to getting those cards. Very clever mechanic of discarding cards for re-rolls. So that conundrum of discarding cards you need for the sake of re-rolling dice to get cards you need. Okay, it sounds like circular reasoning, but it works beautifully in this game. So this is what you're rolling to get the cards. You can see the 3 A's there, so that's 3 of a kind. A, B, B. You roll a pair of numbers for that. You roll 3 of a kind. It's a full house, 3 of a kind in a pair, and so on. You're trying to get combinations on your dice to get those cards to build those ships, and those ships want a certain combination of things. To build the ship, you're going to have to hand in the blueprint for the ship that looks like this, which is actually over here at the moment, I think. I think that's the same one. You're going to have to get the right fuel for this ship, which is actually this card here, sitting right there. And then you've got to equip it with your crew, which is the little incubi from Aniram, and he's sitting right there. So all those cards are available to me at the moment to build this ship. I've got to build all 6 to win, but I've got to roll the right dice to get them. So that's kind of fun. So my 3 things I want to say, just like all of these that I'm doing. What's my favorite piece of artwork? My favorite piece of artwork for this is this ship. I love the way this one is done with the sort of creepy butterfly wings with eyes, and then baskets of incubi underneath it. I think that's really, really well done. Secondly, what part of the gameplay do I like the most? Well, in this, I like knowing what's in the decks, okay? And then adjusting what you do based on your knowledge of what's in the decks. I think that's really, really unusual and cool. Equally, I love the dice rolling. I'm really happy that there's an Oniverse game with the Yahtzee style dice rolling, and when you add a couple of the expansions in, like the Stone Clouds, not only do you have to get the Yahtzee style combos like Full House and 2 pairs and 3 of a kind, but you also have to total your dice together to get a certain score to smash those Stone Clouds out, because with that expansion you've got to smash them all out to win as well. So and then finally, the pawn is the Hellkite. I think this is the best pawn of the series, the Hellkite. In his expansion, you'll have outposts and layers, another layer of cards at the top there, and you have to smash those outposts and layers in order to defeat the Hellkite. There'll be 6 decks of those as well. And wherever the Hellkite is, he moves along those decks, preventing you from getting certain resources at the time. Very frustrating, but very fun at the same time. So Arion, for me, as I said, comes in at number 7. Herbon was the second game produced in this series, and I still have it in its original packaging, because Aniram and Herbon came out looking like this, in boxes like this. Eventually they started coming out in boxes like this, but Herbon hasn't been produced in this format yet, but it will be next year. So certainly worthy to be included in this whole range. Herbion's coming at number 6 for me. This is a fabulous game, and I should say, in these early versions of it, the cards are linen based in this version. They're not in these, even though it's great quality. I love linen finished cards. Herbon takes place in the towns or cities of the Oniverse, and you've got 12 cities in this game that you need to balance, and balance by having good dreams on one side of it, bad dreams on the other side of it, because these cities are where the dreams live, okay, thematically. The Oniverse is a dream world anyway, so they're populated by dreams. You'll have the cities down the middle of the table, and you'll be playing good dreams and bad dreams on either side of the cities to try and balance them. You balance them because they've got numerical value. The good dreams have got positive numbers, the bad dreams have got negative numbers, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the numbers balanced on either side of a city so that the total equals 0. Okay, there's the negatives and the positives all total, and you get 0. And then you've considered to have balanced that city. You claim it, and you do that 12 times, and you win. It's a great little number puzzle, because, and it's not just numbers, because each of the cities have got the earth, air, water and fire symbols on them, and only certain dreams can match those symbols as well. So it's not just playing numbers willy-nilly. You've got to also match those elemental symbols as well. Chaos cards come in here as well to throw spanners in the works. There's 2 really cool little expansions here. This is a really nice balancing act. Herbion's coming in at number 6 for me. And here's Herbon, what it looks like on the table. Down the middle there are the cities I was talking about. Right down the middle, you'll see they've got symbols on the top left and right corners. And that's governing what cards you can place next to these cities. On this side, good dreams. Okay, I'm not sure if I dreamt of that. Yeah, I'd consider it a good dream, but in the Oniverse, that weird-looking elephant thing's a good dream. Notice it's +2, and it's got a symbol that matches the symbol of the city. Over here are where the bad dreams go, on that side of the towns.
And so here you've got incubi there, and these are negative numbers. See, -3, -3, -1, and so on. You have to try and balance the two sides. For example, in this city, look at this city, will you? This city exists in bubbles blown out by that fish. Amazing. Okay, that city there with all the stairs. At the moment, I've got a +4 on the right in terms of good dreams. And in total there, I've got a -4 of bad dreams. So that's balanced. So I can discard a card and actually claim that city, because you see how you can balance it on each side. So you're constantly playing cards here on either side to try and get these cities balanced. There's the deck of cities at the top. You get 12 of them done, you're good to go. And so Herbon's really fun. I think I'm really looking forward to the republishing of Herbon, hopefully with a couple of new expansions as well, which will be great. But my three things, my favorite piece of artwork in this game are the spiders attached to red balloons. Amazing. I absolutely love that. My favorite part of the gameplay is that if you here's my hand down here. If you just discard a card from your hand, you get to swap, do a swap of cards on either the right or the left side. So I could swap that fish with this elephant, and if it's going to help me, and you don't have to adhere to the placement rules when you do the swap. That's critical, and I really like that option in this game. And lastly, the pawn. Well, there was no pawn with this game, so hopefully there's going to be one in the new published version. The pawn is going to probably be the chaos card, and the chaos card looks a bit like this. Let's see if I can find one with one hand. Yeah, I can. Okay, so this is what the chaos looks like. So hopefully the pawn will be centered around this star tentacles with eyes type thing. I don't know, what could the pawn do? It's a villain normally. Maybe it could act like a mega city, which requires only negative numbers to balance it, or maybe it blows up cities. I don't know, but yeah, looking forward to what the designer does with the pawn for Herbon. Anyway, that's Herbon.
Number 5 is Cyberion. This is brand new. This came out not even a month ago. Really excited about this one. This one takes place in the factories of the Oniverse. And what's happening here is you're in charge of a group of robots which are trying to rebuild the factory because the devious cog, and I should mention that all of these games have a villain involved, usually represented by the little figurine in the game. In Starion, the villain was the Glaucus Sun. In Arion, the villain was the Hellkite, which I'll talk about a bit later. The Chaos was the villain in Herbon. In here, the villain is the devious cog, which has infiltrated the factories, wrecked the machines, and you've got to employ your little group of robots to repair the damage that the devious cog has done to this Oniverse factory. And you do that again by laying out cards. You've got 3 lines of cards potentially available to you where you create combinations of robots to repair the machine. Usually there's about 25 machines to repair. If you can repair them all by managing the cards as they come out, you're going to win the game. The beauty of this game is it's got a board in it, just like Starion. And the board is an upgrade board, which you'll see in a minute. And if you've got this incredible push and pull of, do I repair the machine with my robots because I can now, or should I use my robots to trigger an ability to make it a little bit easier for me down the track? When you repair a machine in this game, the repaired machines become like a currency in this game for upgrades. Fabulous game, this one. This could, it's, as I said, it's new. I've only been playing it a couple of weeks. I can see it creeping up a little bit higher, but at the moment it's coming in at number 5.
Okay, this is what Cyberion looks like. This is the newest game in the series. I've just done a video on this, so if you want to look at that, it's the last video I did, I think, explaining how to play this game. We have our robot deck there. There's the discard pile, and we have 5 robots all ready to be used. The sign bot and the plan bots and the what's that? Cyclobots and all those, right? Each robot has a symbol at the top left and a strength at the top right. And you combine these robots to repair these machines. See, this machine needs 2 orange robots to repair it. This machine needs 2 robots of strength 1 to repair it. This one needs 2 robots of strength 3. Really simple requirements. It gets a little bit harder as you get to the level 2 machines. But you just manipulate these cards to hand into to repair those machines. But obviously it's not that easy, okay? There's an empty line here for extra cards and an empty line underneath here for extra cards too. Some of these abilities allow you to put cards in those areas to give you more cards to use, because you're going to need it, because it gets pretty hard to repair some of these machines as you move through the game. And if you repair all the machines in that deck, you're going to win. Lots of other things involved in this game. Fabulous expansions as well. Can't go into that now. But my favorite things, 3 things again. The artwork. This is my favorite piece of artwork in this game. It's the number 2 command. I think he's a command bot. I love the colors in this. Love his face. Love his position. There he looks like he's doing a Bee Gees move. But artwork in this game particularly those machines are great. Okay, part of the gameplay that I like the most, and that is obviously this board. Okay, again, like Starion, we got a board with this game, and those are the devious parts of the devious cogs. When you put them together, they make one big devious cog. And okay, as you unlock these abilities, you move the cog along, you push it back, in other words, thematically, out of the system. And this unlocks a lot more abilities for you to manipulate the cards, get more cards out there. Each one of those 5 things do something different. But this whole aspect of the game, using your cards here, discarding cards here, instead of repairing machines, discarding them for their ability to use the abilities that you've unlocked up here. This is a great little upgrade tool. It's a reward system that works beautifully. What does the figurines do? I've already said they just track your. They're there to track your advancement on that, or your progress on that upgrade machine. Critical to the game. You won't be able to win unless you move those little critters down. Okay, so this is Cyberion. It really is a great game. As I said, it's probably going to rise up the ladder in my ranking, but at the moment, this is where it stands. Coming in at number 4 for me is Aniram, which is the original game in this series. Still one of the best. Lots of people have this as their number 1. I can see why. I've played it so much. Aniram is, as I said, the original. It takes place in the in a dream labyrinth in the Oniverse. And it's a labyrinth because when you get stuck in here, it's very difficult to get out. You have to unlock 8 doors to get out. And the reason why you get stuck is because there's libraries, there's gardens, there's observatories, and there's aquariums in there, which you wander around trying to find your way out. So obviously it's very distracting and alluring. It plays very much like a simple solitaire game where you're laying down cards in a particular order with the symbols in a particular pattern, so that that allows you to unlock doors. You've got to do that 8 times to win, but it's a little bit more tricky than that. But that's the basic idea of the game. Things mess you up, obviously, as with all these games. Nightmares are in this deck, so when you draw a nightmare, it's going to mess things up for you big time. You can trigger prophecies in this game, whereas a card with a key on it, you can discard that to rearrange the deck a little bit, hopefully in your favor, and get rid of some of those nightmares. There's 7 expansions in this game. It's so exciting to buy this game and see here it says include 7 expansions. And they're great expansions. They changed the game a lot. The Dream Catchers, the Books of Lost and Found, the Towers. Towers is probably my favorite expansion, where you have to line up military towers in a certain order, as well as unlocking the doors. The expansions really make this game pop. Aniram's fantastic. I feel a little bit guilty putting it at number 4, but hey, there's 3 I like better than this. Ah, beautiful Aniram. Okay, started it all and still love this game. So there's your deck of cards. This is the row of cards you play to, solitaire-wise. You're trying to get the symbols in the right order. So if I get 3 symbols that are not the same, so I can't, if I put a sun symbol there, I can't put another sun next to it. So as you can see, they're different. If I can get 3 in a row, I will go back into that deck and get the matching door. So I got the library symbols matching. I get the library door. Then I do the 3. I managed to play 3 aquarium cards in a row. Symbols are okay. I go and fetch the aquarium door, and so on. There's the garden door I also got by doing the 3 symbols. I've got 5 cards here. This is the library part of the labyrinth. Great artwork again. This is the observatory. This is the aquarium, the garden. And I'm playing these cards each turn into this row to try and get 3 in a row, symbols following the rules, and finding those doors. My favorite piece of artwork in this game is really the evil part of the game. The nightmare card. I think that looks really, really great. If you draw those, you're in trouble. It's going to mess you up for a while and set you back. And I think there's 13 of them, surprise, surprise, in the deck. But that's my favorite piece of artwork in Aniram. My favorite kind of mechanic in this game, mechanism in this game, is discarding a key. Okay, see, I've got a card here, a garden card with a key. Instead of playing it into the line, I can discard cards for their abilities. And when I discard a key, I get to reorganize the top 5 cards of the deck. Man, that's so important when you get into this game, because it gets pretty tense not knowing what's going to come out of there. With a key, I can arrange it, and I can also discard one of those cards. So if you manage to have a nightmare in the top 5 cards, you can get rid of one nice and quickly. What does the pawn actually do in this game? Oh, here he is, the original Incubus pawn. Okay, he does a couple of things. As the little Incubus, he can cancel a nightmare if you play with his little expansion. So you have him, you draw a nightmare, and instead of dealing with it, you can discard your pawn and get rid of the nightmare for free. Or he can also anticipate a nightmare in another expansion where you preempt a nightmare, you perform what you would have to do to deal with one, put a card underneath your little pawn here, and the next time a real nightmare comes up, you don't have to deal with it because he's already dealt with it. So he's really useful. He's actually helpful, not a hindrance, despite the way he looks. Aniram, those are my little things I want to say about Aniram. It's a great game. It's coming in at number 4 for me, as I said.
All right, coming in at, now I'm down to my top 3, I think, aren't I? Yes, I am. Third for me, Sylveon. Was my number 1 for a long time. It's just dropped a little bit. And I don't even know why, because I still absolutely love this game. The little figurine in here is called the Ravage. He's a little fire elemental. Sylveon takes place in the Grand Forest of the Oniverse. And you are trying to protect this forest from being burnt to a crisp by the Ravage. And so it's a tower defense game, okay? And so you've got a grid which is lined with trees which are starting to burn. And the Ravage is a set of fire elemental cards which are coming in from the right into the grid. And you are populating the grid with things that will oppose the Ravage, put out the fire, stop the fire. Things like fountains which will squirt water at it. Animal helpers like elephants and whales and doves and squirrels, which are magnificent. Artwork for those animals particular are great. But populating your grid with fountains and animals and other little helpers to stop the advance of this fire. It's literally a grid, and the fire marches, and you are opposing the fire with cards. With your helpers and your fountains. You also got to remember to plant trees in that forest again, because at the end of the game, new trees are going to rejuvenate your forest and hopefully get you the win on the game. You have to have all the trees back to normal. No burnt trees in your forest to win this game. It's quite tricky. The expansions are fantastic. It's got a great little draft mechanic for your deck at the start of the advanced game. Yeah, as I said, lots of great expansions in this. Great cards, great ideas. Sylveon was the first kind of tower defense game that I played, and it's solo. And so this will always be probably in my top 3. Sylveon at number 3.
Okay, here's Sylveon. This is the Grand Forest of the Oniverse. You can see, as I was talking about, that grid flanked by the trees. Those trees are still alive. And then as you get along here, these ones are dead along the edge, 3 edges. Okay, along this edge, though, are the fire elementals, the Ravage, which provides the tower defense feeling of this game. They're moving across here, and you can already see some of them on the grid moving across. They'll just keep moving every turn. I've got some of my minions there, the fountains, to try and stop them. You play your cards into this grid. I've got some trees in there. Hopefully they'll survive to rejuvenate the forest. I've got my hand of cards here. I've got an owl and a hedgehog, a set of hedgehogs to help me to try and just mitigate what's happening on this grid. It's a lot of fun. My favorite piece of artwork is the Acid Lake from one of the expansions. I think that looks really, really great. The Acid Lake. That'll go into the grid and cause problems for me, unfortunately. My favorite part of the game in terms of gameplay, and that is actually playing my cards into this grid to try and protect the forest. You've got a lot of options to battle this Ravage, this onslaught of fire and elementals. And I love the deck building at the start of the game to stack your deck like you want it, and then play your minions and play your, the fountains, the animals in the right positions at the right time to try and stop these elementals. That's a great push and pull element to the game, a great fight, and it's very well balanced. So I love the idea of playing my cards into this grid and the timing of it. What does the pawn do? Here's the pawn, the Ravage. He's one of my favorites. He will jump onto one of these fire elementals if there is a Ravage icon on it. Okay, so in his expansion, he would have jumped onto this one because his face is on there as well. It makes this a lot more powerful, much harder to defeat. You actually have to defeat him twice to get rid of him because of this Ravage on there. If that Ravage ever gets to the end here, because these cards continually move unless you stop them, if he gets to the end, the game's over immediately. So he's very powerful, very scary. That's Sylveon.
I've seen Castellon at the bottom of many lists. That really surprises me, but hey, look, we're all into different things, right? I get it. I totally understand. For me, Castellon has always been in my top 3. It's my number 2 at the moment, and has been for a while. Castellon has got a little figurine. He's called a Menace, and he's coming at the fortress/castle of the Oniverse. That's where that takes place. He's bringing his hordes of harpies and earthworms and all these weird creatures to attack the Oniverse's fortress. You're the captain of the fort, or the admiral of the fortress, and you are trying to defend it. Okay, but it's not tower defense like Sylveon. This is the one and only tile laying. Oh, no, actually, it's probably one of 2 tile laying games in the Oniverse. Okay, I absolutely love tile laying games. I think I'm a little bit biased towards them, which is probably why my top 2 Oniverse games are the 2 tile laying games. Right. On the tiles here are little creatures that are helping you defend your castle. Each creature has a special ability when you discard the tile to help you rearrange your castle. You're building your castle up, and you're trying to create formations that are required to defend against the Menace's attack. Okay, so you might need a formation of 2 towers and 2 foundations and 2 bastions, which is a square. The foundations are horizontal lines, towers are vertical lines. Various combinations of these formations you have to try and build in your tower as you randomly draw tiles to do that. There's a timer on this. You draw 3 of the betrayers, which are clocks, evil clocks, and the game's over. So you've got to try and get this done before you draw those 3 traitor tiles. But it's just so much fun trying to manipulate your castle, which is basically lines of tiles in front of you, to create those formations and to win the game by doing that in a certain amount of time. The artwork on these tiles are fantastic. There's only one expansion in this game, which is a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to see a couple more. But just that the mechanics of this game, building those formations, discarding the tiles for their abilities, they're really clever. And this game also, why I like it is it's very unique in that it takes you through 3 levels of the game. The introductory version of the game is like you in school, being taught about the menace and what it could possibly do to the fortress. The second level is you being taken through like a simulation of what it might happen if the menace ever does arrive. And level 3 is actually when it does really happen. The menace is here and you are now the grown-up admiral of the fortress and you have to deal with the real thing. And I really like that storytelling in this game. It's number 2 for me, and I think it's going to be there for quite a while.
Okay, Castellon, a classic for me. There's the pile of tiles I'm drawing from. Those are my 3 formation expectations that I have to meet. I'm playing the intermediary game here, which is the simulator. Okay, you can see the first formation that I have to create. I've got to have in my castle, I've got to have 1 tower, which is of a 4 vertical. I've got to have 1 bastion, which is the 4 in a square, and I've got to have 1 horizontal foundation with made up of 4 of the same little critters, right? And you make them here as you draw tiles and you add them to your castle. You've got a 6x6 grid to work with. As you can see, I've already got a line of the seers. These are called seers, the blue characters. The orange ones are jugglers. These are pyros. These are changelings. Discarding these tiles as you draw them from here. You don't have to place them in here. You can discard them for their special ability to rearrange this stuff. Each one does something different. The seers allow you to look at 4 tiles in advance. The jugglers allow you to swap tiles next to each other. The pyro allows you to blow parts up and start again, and so on. So you're building this 6x6 grid, hoping to match those formations requirements that are there. When you do one, you flip the next one and the next one and so on, and if you can get all 3 done, you win. Super hard to do because there's a clock going. If I pull one of these tiles with a clock on it, that pushes me closer to the end of the game. So I like that tense feeling of having to finish in time. I love tile laying. As I said, this is one of the reasons why this game is so high for me. I love making the formations. It's very challenging. As I said, there's 3 levels to this. There's the introductory level, super easy. The requirements of the foundation, the formations there. The harder level is a lot harder. 3 towers. You have to be able to destroy 32 tiles and still have a foundation. And so on. Okay, what do I like about this game? The 3 things. This is my favorite piece of artwork. The earthworms pushing up through the ground into the castle. Great artwork again with this. The thing I like to do most about in this game is discarding these tiles for ability. If I draw one, okay, I've drawn a square pyro tile, I can discard him for his ability to manipulate my castle. Really important. You can't win without that. And lastly, what does the pawn do? Well, the pawn is here. He's the menace, right? And he figures in some of the expansions. If I had him here, it'd be an extra thing that I'd have to do. While making the formations here, I'd also have to surround this menace pawn with 8 tiles and trap him in a prison, adhering to all the placement rules as well. You can't have the same shapes next to each other and so on. So the prison expansion with the menace is really good. Also, there's other expansions where he turns up at the top of the highest tile on the highest tile, therefore making that you can't place next to him. You can't destroy that tile or you lose the game, and he moves around your structure, causing problems. So he's really annoying, but a great addition to the game. That's Castellon.
Okay, Nautilion is my number 1 game in the Oniverse series. Do you know what? When I was doing this ranking, I even surprised myself. I had to pinch myself. Is Nautilion really my favorite? Because it doesn't feature at the top of many people's lists. But I had to admit to myself that Nautilion is my favorite. And I think I know why. First of all, it is tile. It involves tiles. Even though they're small circular tiles, it's still tiles. And I love tiles. I love cards. I love dice as well. All the mechanisms in these games are great. But Nautilion has got something special. It takes place in the oceans of the Oniverse. And I'm a sucker for gardens and oceans when it comes to themes, okay? And so you're captaining a submarine in this called the Nautilion, and you are traversing the oceans to get to the Evil Isles, where an attack is coming from. The Phantom submarine is coming from there. You're coming from there, and you're trying to get to his home ground before he gets to yours. Okay, so it's a race against each other, but it's more than just a race. Ingeniously, the designer has come up with a way to incorporate a roll and move, old school roll and move mechanism into one of these modern games. And that's what's happening. You're rolling 3 dice, you're assigning the dice to various aspects of the game, and that is moving you forward, that is moving your opponent forward, that is placating the little figurine in this game, which is called the Dark House, as opposed to Lighthouse, okay? And the Dark House is manipulating the waves and the currents and making it difficult for you. But basically what you're doing is you're going along a path, hoping to get to your destination before your opponent gets to his. Whoever gets there first wins, but you can't just get there first. You've got to pick up crew for your submarine along the way, right? So, and the tiles that you land on to get there are actually crew members. And so you have to pick up this crew in the right order as well, because as you pick them up, you populate your submarine with them. And that has to be populated in very specific ways. You get like 8 submarines, beautiful hard cardboard boards here. So when you pick up your crew along the path, you place the crew into your submarine in certain formations. So there's 2 elements to this game: this kind of set collecting and organization of the submarine, but while also traversing the path of the ocean and trying to get there before your opponent gets to his destination. There's a lot of manipulation involved with the path. You can play it super simple. You can throw the expansions in. I think these have got the best expansions of any of the games. Another reason why I like this the most. I mean, you've got mages that help you. You've got the Dark House figurine actually doing more with an expansion as well. You've actually got a battle that if you and the Phantom ship actually meet in the middle at some stage, you guys have a battle. So you actually have to build up your military before you meet in the middle somewhere, which is really, really great. You've got some other little denizens of the ocean to help you as well in other various expansions. You've got reefs that you can get stuck on as well, which one of those reefs have got my favorite piece of artwork in all of these games, which I'll show you in a minute. Nautilion is definitely my favorite, and I think it's because I keep coming back to it the most. I tend to play it the most. I tend to get immersed in the artwork the most. I tend to be fascinated by the designing brilliance of this game, to get a simple roll and move and to turn it into a modern day board game that folk like we all really like. So you might disagree with me, but Nautilion is my favorite Oniverse game.
Yes, so Nautilion is my favorite Oniverse game. This is what it looks like set up. Those are those beautiful circular tiles. They're small, and so you have to peek pretty closely to see the wonderful artwork on them. Remember I said they're all the crew. They're all crew tokens. They're crew members, and this is you at your submarine at starting at the Happy Isles, and you will move along this path as the game progresses, picking up these crew tokens in the order that you need to, organizing and restructuring this path as you're allowed to. Here's your opponent, the Phantom sub or ship coming from the abyss over here. He's heading this way as well. So he's trying to get to the Happy Isles. You're trying to get to the abyss first, and that's how you win. There's the Dark House figurine sitting there ominously, right, waiting to cause problem with the currents and so on. Here you get the 3 dice to roll, and then you assign 1 to yourself, 1 to the Phantom, 1 to the Dark House. Here's your submarine. You get a fantastic board. This is where the crew goes on in a certain order. On the back of each board, you get another different submarine configuration, which adds a lot of replayability to the game. I love Nautilion, and this is the simplest version of it, but with the expansions, this path gets bigger, gets more complex, there's more things to do, there's more cards, and so on. What's my favorite part of the piece of the artwork? It's this one. It's the Grim Reaper jellyfish, I like to call it. These are reef tokens, and they actually attach to the path like that, and they stop you. But that bit of artwork is fantastic. My favorite part of the gameplay in Nautilion is actually, strangely enough, the very start, choosing your sub, choosing what submarine you're going to play, because it changes the game so much. They're fantastic. But also, secondly, I love the idea of rolling these beautifully thematic 3 dice and assigning them the best way that you can. That's really challenging. And finally, what does this great pawn do? The Dark House pawn is in the game all the time. He sits here above everything, and you have to assign him a dice every single turn. And if you don't assign him a 1 or a 2, it's going to cost you big time. There's also an expansion where there's a number of cards that line up along there, and he moves along the cards, triggering effects that also is going to make it easier or harder for the game. So this is Nautilion. This is my #1 game in the Oniverse series.
So there you go, guys. There's my ranking of all the Oniverse games. I've said a few times on my channel, collectively, this is my favorite game of all time, this series. I love them all. Sadly, one has to come at the bottom, one has to come at the top, and then everything in between. I hope that was enjoyable to you. I had a lot of fun actually ranking these games. They're dear to my heart. I love them a lot, and I play them a lot. I play them more than any other game in my collection. And so Herbon is actually going to be coming out next year, so that'll join the ranks here. And then I think the designer has got 1 more to go, and then we're done, which is very sad, because I would have liked these to come out infinitely in the future. But so I hope you enjoyed the ranking. Happy for you to rank yours in the comments below. I'd be very interested to see and to see how we compare. There's something in these games for everybody. Okay, Aniram's the classic solitaires, Sylveon's the tower defense, Castellion's the tile laying, Nautilion's the roll and move, and then you've got Arion, the Yahtzee style dice games. Starion and Cyberion are deck management, and Herbon is Herbon. Right? There's something for everyone in these games. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next video.